Hi, welcome back to my channel. My name is Jacquelyn Lopez, and today I have a highly requested Dollar Tree Tiered Tray Decor DIYs. That is my #1 asked question, is how to decorate tiered trays or how to make DIYs for them. So that's where this video comes in order, and I think I'm going to make one for pretty much every season and every holiday from here on out. So make sure that you are subscribed to my channel so that you don't miss any of them. Hit the notification bell so that you are notified anytime that I post a new video. Also, don't forget to share my video and comment on it. That really helps my channel to grow. But let's go ahead and get started. For our first DIY, you're going to be needing a wooden heart-shaped ornament. Dollar Tree does have different shapes of these. I'm going to be using my medium stamps, and these are from Michaels, and then some black ink. Both of them are from Michaels. I'm going to link them down below, and some stain for the heart. I'm not using this color. This is just the one that was the nicer, cleaner can. Let's go ahead and start by protecting our area. I'm gonna go ahead and remove this little jute twine that is the hanging part. This didn't need to be sanded, but you can definitely sand it before you stain it. I'm going to do my basic staining technique of just brushing it on with a brush and then removing the excess. As you can see, the stain doesn't move a lot. This type of wood absorbs the stain really quickly and doesn't move around that much, so it ends up being a little bit darker than I wanted, but I do find a way around it. Later on, you're going to see what I do to take care of that. Because of that, I did only have to do 1 coat of stain, which cut my drying time by a lot, so that was a blessing in disguise. I also want to teach you a little trick I learned. Anytime I stain anything, my hands get really dirty, as you can see, and a trick that I learned is to wash them with coconut oil first and then a regular hand wash, and it all comes off. Now here it is, all dry now. I'm gonna go ahead and do a coat of white wax to try and lighten it a little bit. I don't want it to be like a whitewash. I want it to be just like a dusty, cloudy white on top. I like to call it dusty. That's just what makes sense in my head. And I want it to be so light that I'm gonna put it on the stippling brush and then remove any excess. And then I'm going to do my usual staining waxing technique, which is to apply it with a brush, and then I'm going to take off any excess with a rag. And as you can see, it really lightens it up, but still lets this deep brown color peek through. To add a little bit more of the white, I am using whatever is left on it to give it kind of an outline around all of the edges, and I really love the way that that made the end piece look. And here it is, all complete. I'm gonna let it dry for a little before I move on to the next step. Here it is, all dry now, and now it's time to stamp. I'm gonna see if the black one works with it. Spoiler, it does. If it wouldn't have, I would have just switched over to my white ink. I ended up deciding on the word home, and at first I'm trying to see where I want it. I do prefer it being higher up. That way I don't have to worry about a perfect center. Now, this is a mistake I did. I tried to change my technique on how I stamp things, and it ended up being all weird. So I want to show you my mistake. It works better for me to bring it up close so that I can see instead of trying to make it straight. It, as you can see, ended up being more crooked. So because we did a wax on top, I was able to just clean it off. Now I'm going to do the technique where I bring it really close and I can see exactly where I am stamping each one. I am starting with the O and the M since they are the center, and then I do the next ones. I'm going to teach you how I cleaned it off. I just grabbed a little towel with some water, and again, because of the wax, it's easy to take off the ink before it fully dries. If I didn't have the wax, it would have absorbed into the wood. Now, because I'm afraid I took some of the wax off, I am adding a small amount right there, just to cover any mistakes and to make sure none of that black is coming up. I'm going to go ahead and add the jute twine that came with it. You can most definitely leave it without it or add your own ribbon or twine to it. This one really matches the rest of my DIY, so I decided to leave it as is. Now, I use the same technique for the Michaels $1 houses. I have them for different seasons and I make them a double-sided. This one you could have made double-sided as well, for example, the word love for Valentine's Day, but I really like the way that the wood looks, so I'm going to leave it as is. For our second DIY, we're going to be needing some burlap fabric. You can use ribbon or craft paper. We're also going to need some floral foam and a greenery pick. This one is from Dollar Tree, but you can use from any store or whatever you have on hand, and some jute rope and scissors. Of course, you can also make this with fabric. Now I'm going to go ahead and cut squares out of both of them. So I'm going to be making one of each, and then I'm going to cut my floral foam into smaller cubes because I do want these to be rather small. I forgot to mention that we are going to be needing some hot glue. I'm going to start by putting some at the bottom so that our floral foam doesn't move from the craft paper or burlap fabric, because again, I'm going to do two different kinds. The best thing for me to do is to kind of show you, just let you watch instead of try and over explain, but we're basically going to make like a little sack around the floral foam. So I'm going to fold them towards the inside so that it gives you a cleaner look on the outside, and I'm going to try and match edges so that it gives us nice triangles up top and full coverage of the floral foam. So again, all I'm going to do is add some glue in between the burlap or the craft paper, and that's pretty much going to be it. I'm going to repeat that on all four sides. Here it is with all the sides completed. Of course, you can add some moss at the top, but I didn't want to do that. I'm going to make the next one out of some burlap fabric. You can use some burlap wide ribbon. I may show you how to do that over on Instagram stories another day, so make sure you're following me over there. And then I'm also going to make some out of ticking stripe fabric because I know that will look adorable. You can add more glue if you want it to be closer, but I like the really spread out look. At this point, I'm going to add a little piece of jute twine here at the front, so pick your pretty side and make a little bow. I ended up using just a regular knot on this one, and on the burlap I did end up going with a pretty bow. Now it's time to add our greenery. I have this beautiful greenery pick from Dollar Tree. These are one of my favorites. I'm just going to use the leafy ones. And for the craft paper one, I did already have this mint pick. This is from Target, from the Hearth and Hand line from last year, I believe. However, I did end up liking the Dollar Tree version much more. I love the way that those leaves look with the burlap ribbon. This mint one is too large, so I did have to trim it, and the best part about this DIY is that it's all removable, so I can just add different greenery or little flowers and just have like an everlasting tiered tray decor. And for a final DIY, you are going to be needing 2 packs of these 4-piece wicker orbs. They do have different sizes. These are the small. We're going to be needing some jute twine and then some plastic yarn needles. This will help us threading the orbs through, some scissors, and of course some hot glue for some finishing details. Here's a quick size comparison. Now again, to make this process easier, I am going to be using some of these yarn needles. I got mine from Walmart for $1, but these I've had for a while. They're going to make threading the jute rope through these orbs much faster. I did already start this project and then realized I wasn't recording, so I already went ahead and moved on with some of the steps, making the loop, and then I glued on the end a little piece. I do have another tutorial in another one of my Tiered Tray Decor videos where I show you this exact process that I use for making all of my wood bead garlands, and it's the same process for these little orbs. So I'm just going to start looping them through, and I wanted to show you here on one of them, this has a really huge gap in between the pieces, so I just moved that to the side so that they would stay nicely in place. Now I'm going to be attaching my tassel. Again, in the other video where I share how to make these little garlands, I show you how to make the tassel as well. Of course, I am going to be finishing off all the little details with a little bit extra hot glue so that it creates a very polished look to our project. And I'm going to show you here, usually at this part of the tassel making, I wrap around a large piece of the same material, whether it be jute or ribbon, and I make a little knot, and then I just use those tail end pieces as part of the tassel. I'm going to show you how to do this different this time so that you don't see the little knot. So I'm going to take my piece, create a small tail and then a little loop, and then I'm going to wrap the longer tail around the loop, and I'm going to do that throughout the entire piece. I'm going to do this again. So here I've made the smaller tail. I'm going to create a loop. I'm going to hold it in place with my thumb, and then I'm going to take the longer tail and wrap it around the loop, and I'm going to do this several times. Once I've made my long tail a little bit shorter, I'm going to loop it through the loop. And this is a mistake. I shouldn't have trimmed at this point. You'll see when I trim, this was just a waste of time and glue. I was trying to glue the edges so that it didn't come undone, but it was unnecessary. Now that it's in there, we're going to take our small tail end piece at the bottom and we're going to pull it through, and it's going to hide between what we wrapped around, and this is pretty much where you would trim so that you have a small piece that is hidden behind it. And now what used to be the short end of it becomes a part of the tassel. I'm going to trim off camera, and that's it for this DIY. And here are all the projects completed and styled on one tiered tray. This particular tiered tray is from Target. It was a part of their fall Target dollar spot collection. I know that's not what it's called, but that's what everyone calls it. It was the $5 ones. I really hope they bring them back because they are really easy and fun to style. I hope that you enjoyed all of these projects that I created for you. Tag me if you recreate any of them over on Instagram. I do have that link down below, or I also have my email if you prefer to share pictures with me that way. As always, thank you so much for taking the time to watch my video. Subscribe if you haven't already. I'll be creating more tiered tray decor videos since those seem to be your guys' favorite. Also, make sure to like this video, comment on it, and share it with family and friends. That really helps my channel to grow. Again, thank you so much for watching, and have a good rest of your day. Bye-bye.